and a young tight end with upside in David Njoku. Day 2, checking another mark in the need category. Our NFL Nation Browns reporter Pat McManaman breaks down the pick.
The Cleveland Browns changed the tone of their draft with the second-round selection of quarterback DeShone Kizer. The team knew it absolutely needed a quarterback in this draft, and in Kizer, it added one with talent and potential. He's a big, strong-arm guy who can move, but he has a ton of work to do with his fundamentals, and he went 4-8 at Notre Dame last season, something Hugh Jackson did discuss with him. But early in the draft process, Jackson said he pointed out to Kizer a couple things about his footwork. When the team had him in for a private workout, Kizer had mastered the change. That showed the Browns Kizer is willing to work, with Vice President Sashi Brown saying Kizer was self-reflective through the entire process. The Browns now turn to the third day, needing a receiver, but their early picks allow them to take the best player available.
Here's reporter Nick Wagner.
The 49ers spent the second day of the NFL draft planning for the future, and not just with the players they picked. Yes, they picked Colorado cornerback Akello Witherspoon early in the third round, but the real news here today was the move they made with their second third-round pick. They dealt the number 67 overall choice to the New Orleans Saints, and not to move back, but to get a second-round pick in the 2018 draft. Why is that important? Well, the Niners are now positioning themselves to be set up for the 2018 draft better than just about any other team. They own additional picks in the second and third round in the 2018 draft. And if for whatever reason they can't find their franchise quarterback in free agency or aren't in position to draft one, they now have the additional ammunition needed to make a bold move.
Field Yates with us this morning. See, Field, it's not that hard. You just get a front office job and you make the draft look really easy, as Nick Wagner was talking about with the 49ers. Because what's been the prevailing opinion around John Lynch? Because it started with him absolutely fleecing the Bears on night one.
So far, so good, Matt Barry. It has been maybe not a click. We still want to see what these players become. But just in terms of the execution and the approach, it's worked out pretty well so far. It has been a couple of players added, obviously, and two studs at the beginning of the first round, obviously. Solomon Thomas.
Field, hold the opinion for a second.
I'm having a hard
turn
time
on your
hearing
mic.
you. Yeah, it's probably important that when Field talks, his mic is on. We would love to hear all of the great information you have. And go.
Oh, can I go now?
Yeah,
go. You're on.
Talk about those 49ers, because that's a good-looking group right there, especially defensively with Foster out of Alabama, Solomon Thomas.
It sure is. So you like the players added in Solomon Thomas and Reuben Foster specifically. We'll see how those players pan out as actual NFL prospects. But Nick just mentioned, the team has already added draft capital for next year, an additional second-round pick, an additional third-round pick. I am always an advocate of trading for players or for trading for picks a year in advance. So John Lynch created flexibility for now and for later. And the other thing you have to keep in mind, this team does not have 35, 40 stone-cold locks of building block pieces in place. The more draft capital you have, the better and more efficiently you can build depth around your roster. And obviously the quarterback quandary will be what dictates this team's future going forward. But for now, you've at least equipped yourself to build every other spot with reasonable depth, and they still have the most cap space in the NFL by far, so they can aggressively spend if they so desire.
Is there another NFC team that you think has been doing well, that's getting kudos from you?
I think the Cowboys have once again done a nice job drafting so far this year. They came into the draft with two obvious needs, a pass rusher and a cornerback, if not multiple defensive backs. So far, here's what it's been. Taco Charlton, the defensive lineman from Michigan, who's going to help generate pressure under defensive coordinator Rod Marinelli. And then Chidobe Awuzie and Jordan Lewis, two guys who can play cornerback. They can also probably play some safety, specifically Awuzie, if that's what the Cowboys decide to use him as. Lewis does have a hovering domestic violence incident that we are waiting to see where that proceeds legally. So there were some teams that had some question marks about him. From a football standpoint, though, I think that both Awuzie and Lewis have a chance to be instant impact players for Dallas.
Yeah, look, Jerry Jones the past few years, and Steven, along with his son Steven, they've put together some nice drafts, especially last year. Those players got into the playoffs.
6 of 7 years, they have absolutely crushed the first round over the past 6 of 7 years. So they're doing something right in that front office when it comes to evaluating players at the top of the draft.
Certainly after we said at the